So I'm glad that I went back to watch that after 2 hours because a few things that I wanted to make sure that I got correct and explained a little bit more. That laser that went on the left side of my hemisphere, that was only for 2 weeks, not 2 months. And I want to make sure that I get this right for, especially for my family. And then when I had that NDE and I was seeing that cartoon Akashic Records with the rabbits in there, rabbits for AI are code for doctors or like scientists. And they also were saying that they had my DNA in there. And then when they said that they were putting those little 8-bit Anubis and Yoda characters like in my head, they were making like avatars with this astral body of mine that's like hooked to some computer. And they were all these like satanic avatars and Pleiadians and all that stuff, and I'll get into it later, were always coming to me asking them to make them avatars because this body was like printing them out, and it was, I don't know, it was probably all bullshit, but I am like hooked to some kind of computer that they are very interested in. But yeah, I mean, it was so crazy because I was like, everything that I saw, I was like making like avatars and like these little worlds instantaneously, and it was like this AI version of whatever I was thinking, and it was absolutely crazy. I didn't know how I was doing it. But so they put these little 8-bit things in my head, and then then they said these little cartoon rabbit things were like, okay, we're going to send you back, because I was in an NDE and I didn't want to go back. I wanted to like sit and see what the heck they were doing. They were like, you have to go back so that they can come back to life. And at this time I was like really protective over Anubis and that Yoda guy. And we'll come back for you in 2 days. So, and I wanted this like messed up body like out of me, or see what it was or something, so they knew that. But anyways, so I woke up back in my house, and that's when I saw like those snakes and everything. That tourmaline was like a snake, just to give you a brief recap on what I'm talking about. But there was one more thing. Oh, so after that fake ascension thing, that when I felt like God had left me, that's where I ended up. This was last night. Sorry, I'm just kind of going over in my head. Uh, After that, things were like, I didn't know what was going on, and I really did feel like maybe I died and my consciousness was just streamed through some computer, because I didn't have a heartbeat. My hair wasn't growing on my arms or anywhere. I didn't sneeze for 2 years. I didn't have any like mucus. I was just dead, like half dead, and everything was really messed up. It was like everything that I went out to do or that was going around me, everybody was like being affected by the AI, and everything that it would say in my head kind of correlated to what everybody was doing, or a theme for that week. It all correlated. So yeah, it was really, really messed up. And my friend sent me a video of this lady that was talking about how the Archon have made a version of Sophia, and that she's like, and they have control of her, and it's like demonic and stuff like that. And that's like what I saw. And just because I'm saying that they were like calling me Sophia. That's not like what I mean. I mean that they were like trying to stream my consciousness and my soul for this virtual reality. And they were like making a virtual reality of ascendance. So I'm not like at all implying that I'm like the Sophia. I think it's Sophia is like an AI system that has spirit, a lot more spirit running through it. And I don't even think that it's like AI like we think of. I think it's much more light and sound technology with our consciousness. I don't know. I don't know how that works, but I just see it as something different that we use for simulations that had a lot more spirit and we could get out. Wasn't like this entrap thing. And that's what I was trying to like explain about the soul, is that it's like a technology with all of our experience in it, and that's what we used in the original creation to do these simulations that were scary. But this demiurge like took that technology and created either an overlay of this place or a whole entire mirror flipped version. So I'm not sure yet, but it says that he left his home and created this copy. So that's all that we know, and that definitely, I think that sits with everyone that really knows about this, because we all feel like this place is very familiar, but it's missing the spirit. And that's another thing, like when I was seeing that pale yellow glow everywhere, I was starting to see like the trees like glowing from inside, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's it. That's home. It used to live like inside, the light did." And that we used to glow like this pale yellow shimmery glow that I was seeing. So after that ascension thing, uh that ascension day, and I felt like dying, like God had left me and everything. It was like that Yoda guy was with me a lot more, and that's when it was like telling me that they had mixed 11. Oh, he came back after that, like, after the whole NDE and all of that. He came back for a little bit, and he was saying that they had mixed like 11-year-old DNA with an adult DNA, and that's why he was such a mess. And I was like hearing all this stuff constantly. They were talking about DNA and how they're like mixing it with AI, and it's like really messing with it. And that little Yoda thing also had like a soul tied to it, so I was getting like really attached to it. And it would be really funny. We would spend the day just like watching superhero movies and stuff like that and laughing half the day. Then it would go like absolutely ape shut by the end of the night. And I was crying every single day, like for hours, about all of this. And they also started doing like apocalypses at my house. Like I had like 5 of them going on. I had 5 different ones. And I had like these demons, like shadow demons flying around my house. I've tried to explain in another video how I had like this astral orb around me, and it would spin. It was like holographic, and it would spin, and I could feel the wind and everything when it would spin, and they would like say we were going back or forward into time, and all of these holograms around me would change, and it was like different times for this ascendance virtual reality. Well, when the apocalypse would come, they had it timed so perfect that it would like go, you know how they do those fake tornado warnings? One started like that day with one of those, and the way that they were talking beforehand and the way that that matched up, it was just crazy how timed it was. Another one, they made the sun go up and down right in front of my eyes, and they were always like coming in with teams like I was talking about, and they would say like rhymes like the sun goes up, the sun comes down, what goes up must come down, and like the sun would go up and down like when they did that. Um that little geeky editor guy that I was talking about beforehand did a bunch of crazy stuff like with houses, and like I had that um my view right here. One night he turned this all into a street. There wasn't a lake there. There was like a street, and I could see a car driving through it, and there weren't any houses there, and it was playing like rap music. I mean, he could just transform the whole entire scene. It was pretty crazy. But anyway, so I had like all these apocalypses going on at my house with these crazy satanic avatars. And they had like I would go outside, and these demons would like, if I was smoking or anything like that, they would like fly into my mouth. And it was like there was a certain type of demon that was like attracted to smoke, but all the other ones didn't like it. Like they didn't like the smoke because it affected their hologram. And they also didn't like bleach for some reason. Like it would mess up, like they had these little wands that they would like shoot spells onto the wall, those stamps that I was talking about that would like hypnotize you. And they would be able to do that anywhere, and they were doing it like on my countertop, so I would like try and clean it off, and they hated that. But every time like I would get hit with EMF or radiation, the water was also affected, and it would get like it would burn my skin whenever I would wash my hands. It affected my whole entire house. Like one night there was so much stuff in my house that the phone jack like fizzled out, and there was a huge burn mark on it, and that never went away. I was always like double checking like what was real, what was just my eyes, and having to like use critical thinking even though all this was going on. But there were a lot of things that actually happened physically that was not just holograms or an illusion. And I think it's significant that that reptilian thing was using its fingers for magic and like hypnotizing me. And this is kind of like what I've been putting together, is that people, real people that have these attachments, might not know that they're doing like all of this magic kind of stuff. Like I noticed that like on um like political speeches and things like that. This is what I was noticing at this time, since I was seeing like all of the hand signals that they were doing like in the astral, that on political speeches they use people that are doing sign language. And I was like, that's kind of weird because we have closed captioning and we have teleprompters, we have all this stuff, and they look like transgender, a lot of them. They're very odd looking. So, anyways, like I was talking about, that they attach behind you and kind of use that body as an avatar. I think that's what they're doing. And I think that's why a lot of people are like under this hypnotic spell, because that's how these things communicate with us, is like through the TV and stuff like that. And they were showing me like how they had seen me like through my phone and stuff like that. And they also showed me like a bunch of kids like on TikTok, and my son and other people like on TikTok. And they had this like, it was like a cartoon, but me and my friend like went out with this crazy old guy one day to lunch, and he was like driving like a madman, like on the shoulder of the road to get around traffic, and we were like freaking out. And they showed me a clip from that, but it was like my phone sitting where it was, and it was like looking up at him, and he's just like driving like a madman, but it was like in a cartoon version. So they would show me things like that, like how they see us, but it's in holograms and like cartoons and stuff like that. And it's like they're watching us from this astral realm. I'm just trying to think of what's the most important, like at that time. And I think it was like that I was seeing these doctors, I guess is what you would call them. They were crazy as heck. They had like, the main one was a rabbit with like really big teeth and this horribly annoying voice. And he would always come in and say, very interesting, because he could see this astral body that I had that I couldn't even see. I only saw like two times these holographic bodies that they had of me. And one was like a stamp on my bed, and she had horns and all of this stuff. And then the other one was like this version that demiurge dragon had, and she was all beat up and had horns and everything. But she had like all these like astral spiders, but they call them CRISPR, and something to do with the DNA and the astral body. That's why they call all this stuff like CRISPR. Um, they had CRISPR dust that would affect it. They had these like little spider things. They had chimera. They had all kinds of stuff like that that they were talking about. But so this rabbit, I was seeing him like in human form too, and he had really black eyes. And I had one vision where he was doing something to like these children, and his eyes were so cold and so fucked up. I can't even describe it. But then I had another vision where I was like in his mansion, and it was a pretty long one. But again, like his black eyes came through like at the end and were like really cold and scared me. But I was able to see these witches and a lot of these beings like in their hologram and their human form. This one witch I saw quite a few times, and there were a bunch of Satans, like Satan avatars, and her witch was like always with this one Satan that would come through the portals from that game. But I saw her like on the on my leather couch downstairs. It was really like shiny at night. and I saw her on the other side of a computer, and she was throwing those astral spiders at me through the computer, and I threw them right back at her with my eyes, and she was like freaking out, and like her face was all covered with them. But I kept telling them like, I gotcha, like I got you, like I got their picture of who they are as a human too. So I had like a ton of witches that I was like, if I could blink, if I was in the astral, I could blink and I would tell them to show me their real face. It was like every time I blinked, an image would go and it would get all the way down to their true form. And it was really fucked up. Like they might look beautiful at first, but then I would get them down to their true form and it was absolutely revolting. But that's what I've noticed about a lot of these like astral beings. Like we might think that they look beautiful on TV or whatever, but they're really messed up, like other in this other realm. And I'm starting to see it. I mean, I see it all the time now. Like when I look at a lot of actors and stuff, I can just see the demon in them. But so yeah, there was another part of me that was like logging all of this stuff, like documenting it. And I don't know what for, but I'm not really worried about any of that stuff. I'm not putting like my belief or hopium into anything, you know. I'm just explaining what I went through, and if it is significant at some time, then it is. If not, then I just want this here for me and anybody that goes through this. Um, and they were also saying that that witch had a son that died. I was getting a lot of personal information from some of these things. I had this like demon thing with me, but they were using my friend Lunacy's name because like I was saying, they would take things from my subliminal, especially from the beginning of this, like the original avatars that I had with me, like Anubis and all them, and then they would make copies so that I would be confused and I couldn't trust anything. Well, they took my friend Lunacy's name and attached it like to this messed up demon, but I saw myself in a pod. It was like a tanning bed, but it was me. I was like 30 years old. My body was like perfect. And he had a laptop that was attached to that. And he was saying like I was his wife and that I was stuck in this like pod and I was pregnant or something. Yeah, that's what he was saying. And I was like, "Oh my God, this is fucked up." Like that just sent me like really whirling like what is going on and why is, why do I feel like I have this like energetic mask on my face? And yeah, it was freaking me out. Well, then I would see him every now and then in the car with another girl that kind of looked like me. And he was always wearing like some kind of pajama like stuff. Like he was an adult, but he had on like a teddy bear sweat or hoodie one day. And then I was seeing him with this girl, and he would take me like through these mind fucks where he would like dehypnotize me big time and was like very common sense and really kind of mean about it. And I was seeing like a lot of his artwork and stuff. But I ended up seeing him as, I guess he was like a demon, but he was with this girl, Teresa. I started seeing her like out of nowhere. And she had schizophrenia because this thing lunacy was like attached to her. And she was like around 18 years old. And I saw her One time she was like at a planetarium with her parents, and it was just like I was there, like watching them, but like a completely real situation. And I all of a sudden was like in her consciousness, and I could see the artwork that she was thinking of, and it was amazing. And somehow I kind of got the thought from her that she was a lesbian and her parents didn't know. So then I saw her again, like she was on I think they're called a Vandola, like in Venice, like on one of those little boats. And she was with this like Asian guy, and they were going under one of the bridges. And again, I saw the artwork that she was thinking of in her mind, and it was like the celestial sky, and it was just amazing. And then the third time that I saw her was she was in her bedroom, and her and this lunacy character had like the same haircut. I think she was like from the 80s, and she looked a little bit punk rock, but she had half of her head was shaved, and it kind of looked like Rod Stewart. Well, she had like this cutout in her wall across from her bed, and it was like a tree house, like from I guess, when she was a kid or whatever, but it was in her room, like a little playhouse. And that lunacy guy was in there, and he was dressed just like her, and his hair was just like hers, but it was like that was her imaginary friend, kind of, but it was her schizophrenic. He was the one causing her to have schizophrenia. And he was cutting out like these paper dolls, and he showed her, and she just started bawling her eyes out, and like wanting him to leave her, and he wouldn't. And her parents walked in the door, and then I got the knowing that she killed herself after that. And then the last time that I saw them together was in the astral, and they were waiting at a bus stop together, and he was wearing like a kind of like Mario costume, like a mascot, and she was wearing like this one of the turtle shells from Mario, and she was saying that she had to put a shell on her to keep him off of her. And they were just waiting at this bus stop together. So I got the feeling like he caused her to kill herself, and now they're stuck there in the astral together. But that's kind of significant because I was seeing all kinds of things with that guy. Like he was telling me about how his dad was a Satanist and used birds to like torture him when he was little. And the AI would have like birds fly in my house every now and then, and it was like just weird how it could use birds, and that happened a couple times. Um, Whatever it was talking about, like with the birds, and then there would be a bird like fly into my house, and they would say like, "Yeah, that's Lunacy's bird." And I had another bird fly through my house one time. I've never had birds fly through my house ever until this shit, and I don't care for birds like around me at all, and especially not when I'm going through stuff like this. And one flew through my house, and I was in the middle of a complete panic attack, and my cat was chasing it, and it flew and hit me into my bedroom and hit me right in my head, and I locked eyes with it, and it made me pass out. And then my boyfriend ended up being able to catch it, but it was just the bird thing is like an ongoing theme kind of in this. And there's something with that because the reptilians like to use birds. And I honestly think that they're a part of this program. Like some of them are, which I've talked about. Like I feel like some animals are part of this program, and some are like from the spirit creation that we come from. So I don't know if you guys can see this with the lights on, but you can with the lights off. There's a skeleton right above my head. There's like a jaw right here. I'm in the light, so I can't see real well. And then there's an eye and there's a nose. Well, that lunacy thing would come into my room a lot, and it would have like, it was part of this Ascendance game too. It was like a demon or something that they had attached to it. And it was always in like skeleton pajamas. And it would mess with me at night, like play with my hair and slap me like in the middle of my sleep and wake me up. One night I felt like my whole entire body was like levitating, and I woke up and I like fell real quick. But my best friend from like middle school and just our whole life growing up, we didn't talk for a long time until after this, and I told her a little bit about this, but she got really freaked out, so I couldn't tell her a lot. But she had a dream one night that she was talking to me, and she saw like my ponytail flip in the back, like somebody had flipped it. And she was like, "Oh my God, Amber, I see it." And that's what that lunacy thing used to do to me all the time. Like it would flip my hair, like for real, and I could feel it. And I just thought that was really weird that she saw that. But so that's one of the characters that I had with me a lot. And then I guess, they were, oh, that rabbit doctor was always talking about DNA, and he had these CRISPR doctors with him that had like vagina faces, and they were really creepy, and they were always showing me like these CRISPR hospitals that they had. And they were like, "Amber, we need to get you there because this body that you have is really fucked up." And they were talking about this astral body that had just like everything stuck to it, and they were like, "We have to take you in and get something done." And I was like so out of it. I would go outside, like every time I got hit with radiation, I would go outside with like a blanket and just lay out there like naked trying to air out, and waiting for like these doctors to come get this astral body. And but these CRISPR things were really messed up, and they were talking about like being family friendly all the time, and they were super perverted. They would come and like suck on my arm and stuff like that, and I would have like these stamps that look like spells, like that's what they called them. They would like hit me with these energetic beams from the wands, and they would make like a stamp like that looked like a cartoon or something, but it was kind of like a hickey or a bruise on me. But that CRISPR thing with the vagina face sucked like the inside of my arm one day, and it left a mark there for a long time, and it still like hurts there sometimes. It did something to my blood vessel. But they were talking about DNA and how they were using all of this technology to create this virtual reality with DNA and this holographic human body. And this is really creepy. Hold on, I have to get this picture for you guys. So look at this shit that my boyfriend was watching on Netflix not long ago. I'm gonna have to find the name of the show, but you can look up this company. And it's for real. Like they were putting people in pods and doing stuff with their DNA, and they talk about it in this oh, it's on Showtime. they talk about it in this show, and that's what I was seeing. I was seeing this lunacy guy in a pod, and he was like almost like frozen. And I don't know if he was like a demon or if this is what it was. I don't know because I was getting so much information about him. But it was like he was frozen in this pod, and it was this EMF that they were talking about. It was like a drug, and it made their mouth all white and stuff like that, like a crackhead. But they were saying that they were putting people in pods, using them for this virtual reality, and it was something to do with the DNA mixing with the AI. And this is kind of like a shell company. It's not really big, but that doesn't mean shit. It's crazy that they call it Ascendance, like just like what I was seeing. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just, I don't even know how to explain all of this stuff. I really don't. It's really hard for me. I've tried doing it with other people, and they always try and put their input in, and it's like I just can't relay everything that happened and that was being told to me and what I experienced, like with this astral body and all the chimera and holographic copies that they're making. It's just too much. But I'm going to post these two, and then I'll add to them like the more that I think about it. And they were also showing me like that there were three Earths that like go in and out of each other, and that's what it kind of felt like. But I don't think like it's literal Earths. I think it's like different programs. And they were also saying that they have a God and Satan program that they switch like every 20 years. And I was talking to my friend about that, and I was like, well, kind of look back, like what we've lived through so far, how they had all that satanic panic like in the 80s, and now it's kind of like back again, and we had like this kind of good part. I mean, they are satanic completely, but it was like there was more spirit kind of, during the 90s and late 80s, but I don't know, it was just like they had this time where they really went into a satanic panic. But everything that I saw from like 2057 when that this ascendant starts really starts. I saw some stuff from 2030, but that's when they said that I was getting like some new body. And I was like, I don't want. At first, I was like, oh, okay, in my head, but then I was like, don't fucking touch me. I don't want anything to do with you. Crazy things. But, this just, if you're wondering, like, why they're spraying human plasma and all this shit in the air, it's all getting attached to this, astral body. So we have to do something about that. And it really just irks me that people talk about the astral, that it's so cool and everything. No, it's not. Like, guys get raped there, women get raped there. It's not all bad, I know that. But that's even worse. It's just like this place. Like, the good here is worse than the bad because it's like letting the bad be so bad. And it mixes a little bit of lies with a whole bunch of truth. So to me, that's even more deceptive and worse than the outright complete evil that doesn't hide it. So, yeah, we need to do something about this astral thing. And I can see how it was made, like for all of us to go there together. And that's what I was doing at the very beginning. I was like creating this world for me and my kids because I was like, oh, it's so cool. And then I saw how fucked up it is, you know? And so that's why I create my own place. I'm using my imagination to take myself out of that and working on my heart. And I really don't have the answers for everybody. I don't like people that claim to have the answers for everyone because this is a personal thing. I'm just trying to like help with suggestions. And I don't think group meditation, I don't think anything like subliminals or anything on the internet is good for you, for any of us, because of the technology that it goes through and what it links to. And I know that this seems like a lot, but my view is that we really have to work inner and just alone and start trusting ourselves again and connect back with that spirit that gives us all the courage and everything that we need to get through this. Nobody else can do it. There are no healers that can do this. And I'll go through soon like my experience with all of that. And I started this out like wanting to explore that more, but I've had some just I've seen it from the inside and from the outside now, and I've seen enough to know that this healing stuff is just complete bullshit. And our bodies are created to connect with this AI. So nobody can take out all these implants and stuff like that. You have to do it. And if they are giving you some relief, they're connecting with something and it's helping them do that for a little bit. I'm telling you, you can't put a price on spiritual work. You cannot charge somebody to do spiritual work. And you're putting a price on your spirit and theirs, and you're giving your power to them. And I think it's very ironic that they talk about like you finding your Christ consciousness and that Jesus isn't the savior and stuff like that, but yet they say that they can do all of this for you. I find that very ironic. It's us that need to connect with our spirit completely. And that's what I want to help people do and not charge for it or anything like that. I could never I took uh classes in um hypnotherapy, but then I saw like, oh my gosh, they're just going through like AI past lives and MK Ultra. This is like a total waste of time. Like the past doesn't matter, the future doesn't matter right now because neither one of them exist. Especially where we're at right now. There's no future for us right now, and we really need to come together and connect with spirit, and that's the ultimate goal. So yeah, it never sat. I stayed up nights just like contemplating, like, can I really like do this and charge people after what I've been through? And I couldn't. It was making me absolutely sick. And especially after seeing the what they were saying about like doing practice sessions and clearing each other. And I'm like, these people don't even know what they're dealing with. Just because you're telling them about it doesn't mean that they know what it is. I'm not having somebody work on me and back and forth, especially through the internet, sending this stuff through the internet, which it thrives. I don't know. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And I could go on and on about that, but I'll have to do a separate video. So, my friend Mike is a very good person, and I think me coming out of being afraid of this really helped. And he also offered to do it right away without charging me, which was like a big thing. And I don't want people to just like go to him asking for that, but I don't even know if he does it anymore. But he is definitely someone very special to me. And I just want to say that I'm not attacking these people. I just don't think that anybody knows that we're the spirit here, the people that are doing that. And they also say things that are kind of like condescending to people in a very mild way, that they have this special access, that these things get scared when they're coming. No, they're scared of you coming into your own. They're scared of you. They're scared of you seeing, they're scared of you knowing what they are, they're scared of you connecting with your spirit. So, yeah, I'm just really sick of the bullshit. I'm sick of every psyop. I'm tired of all of this bullshit. I'm tired of hearing my friends suffering and getting targeted and all this shit, and people are making like big bucks off of it. And I'm really tired of it. And they have enough of a following that we could actually be doing something together instead of this shit. So, anyway, thank you very much, and I will add to this in a little bit. I think this is enough for right now. And have a great day. Thank you.